Okay, welcome to the 2021 Meraki Oktoberfest. I'm very excited to have you here. I'm Aaron Shelton, a Cisco SE here at D&H, and I have with me today a couple fine gentlemen. There's John Paddock from Meraki. He's actually joining from the Chicago Meraki office, so we'll get a little bit of an inside look of what they have going on there. And I also have Skylar O'Donnell visiting us today. He's from my team and serves you if you send us anything into the engineer queue. He will be doing a quick demo for us, some integration with Meraki between Cisco Umbrella and the Meraki product specifically. Before we get too far into things, I want to mention the Stein Giveaway. We are giving away 60 Steins to the 60 lucky winners. You do need to stick around into the Q&A to qualify for that, but once we've made our selections, we'll let the winners know that they should be keeping an eye out for the Steins. As usual with anything these days, we're seeing some delays, and these do come authentically from Germany. So we may have a little bit of delay delivering them, but we definitely are going to get those out to you. If you haven't used the product Meraki before, I want to cover that just very briefly. It is a full hardware line of networking equipment from networking, switching, routing, and Wi-Fi, and there's even some security cameras and sensors and stuff like that. All combined with a cloud management interface. So this cloud interface is how you manage the full network. It's how you manage your clients. If your clients want to manage themselves, they can. But if you want to enable the view where you can see all of your clients and manage each of them, you can do that too. Along with that, there's some templates you can set up for ease of installation. And if you want to get really fancy, Meraki does support API as well. So if you want to do some programming for any time you bring on a new client, it's going to do this, that, and that, set these security settings. It'll do all that for you and really eases that installation process and even the license key installation. There's a lot of neat stuff you can do on the API side of things. So it's a great line of hardware brought to you by Cisco Meraki along with their amazing cloud interface. It's really one of the better ones on the market for managing hardware specifically. First up, we're going to cover the latest and greatest hardware coming out of Meraki, and we want to go to the MX devices first. So, John, tell us about Meraki's latest MX offerings.
Thanks, Aaron. I could not be more excited to be talking to you today, or for Meraki's continued partnership with D&H. It has never been stronger. Meraki Oktoberfest is truly my favorite time of the year. But let's talk about SD-WAN. Multi-gigabit speeds are not coming. Multi-gigabit speeds are here. We have over 300 global service providers currently offering multi-gig wired WAN. We've seen a doubling in the number of wireless WAN multi-gig deployments. And we have 47% of our customers looking for multi-WAN resiliency with an average of 3 WAN connections. So what is Meraki doing to address a lot of these growing trends in the mid and small size market? Well, let's take a step inside, and I can show you how Meraki is simplifying multi-gig SD-WAN as easy as 1, 2, 3. That's right, 1 gigabit, 2 gigabit, and 3 gigabit speeds on Meraki's new line of MX mid-range devices. That's the MX 85, 95, and 105, which both save 1, 2, and 3 gig throughput. Not only are these devices faster, they are made for the multi-gig era. All of these devices are going to be multi-WAN capable, so we can give our customers the resiliency that they need. And in addition to that, we've seen more than a doubling of our VPN throughput for our mid-range devices. Whether you're working in the office, at home, or anywhere in between, Meraki SD-WAN has got you covered. Now, these changes to our mid-size offerings are very exciting. But let's talk about the small branch. Turns out that over 60% of Meraki SD-WAN deployments are actually in the low end of the market with our MX 64, 67, and 68 devices. Now, we've been noticing some trends with our small branch customers. They need gigabit connectivity, again. They want multi-WAN resiliency, again. And increasingly, they're asking for fiber connections. So what is Meraki going to do to meet these challenges for some of our biggest customers in the small branch space? Well, today I'm excited to announce the MX75 flagship small branch device. The MX75 is truly a branch in a box. It comes gigabit speeds. It allows for a fiber uplink through an SFP, and it is multi-WAN ready with multiple WAN uplinks. Now, aside from that, it has 12 ports, including 2 PoE ports, which, of course, you can use to power your Meraki security camera or plug in your Meraki APs. What better way to utilize gigabit speed than a gigabit Meraki Wi-Fi 6 access point? Speaking of wireless, Aaron, why don't you tell them more about Meraki's Wi-Fi 6 line of access points?
Okay, so we have our multi-gig MX appliances. We have multi-gig switches from Meraki already. What do we really want with that? Some super fast Wi-Fi, and that's where the Wi-Fi 6 APs come into play. Over the past year, Meraki released 6 new models, make that 5 new models, 3 indoor and 2 outdoor. We're going to run through those very quickly here. There's the MR44 on the base level. That's a 2.5 gig interface with a 3 gig frame rate. The MR46 that goes up to a 4x4 antenna array across the board, and a 2.5 gig interface again with a 3.5 gig frame rate rating. Now the MR46 does offer internal and external antenna options, so you can buy the AP that you need there based on that. If you need some fancier antennas, sector antenna, anything like that, MR46 with the external antenna is going to be the way to go. And even if you want to use the Omni antennas with the MR46, that's ideal for a more difficult environment, either higher interference or racking in a warehouse, something like that, or an area that's not climate controlled. It fares just a little bit better in those situations. And then we move up finally to the MR56 on the internal APs. That's an 8x8 access point with 5 gig interface and a frame rate north of that. So very good in high client density areas. Finally, on top of all that, with the added speeds, the outdoor APs, I don't want to miss those, the MR76 and MR86, those are available as well in Wi-Fi 6. They're 2x2 and 4x4 respectively. Now the part I'm really excited to get to here is the OFDMA technology. This is available on all the Wi-Fi 6 APs now. And basically where Wi-Fi 5 would have taken turns speaking to clients, Wi-Fi 6 is now able to speak to multiple clients at the same time. So we've seen an efficiency gain. In addition to just the back-end speed, we've seen an efficiency gain with the antennas themselves so they can speak to the clients better. So what it does basically is it breaks those channels up into smaller units and disperses them, and all without interference. And it's some of the same technology that's being used in the 5G cellular rollout. If you think of it as a delivery truck, you wouldn't want a delivery truck that would deliver one package back again, another package to a different person, back to the warehouse again. With Wi-Fi 6, they put multiple packages for multiple people on the same truck, deliver them, and that can be prioritized as well. So if we have QoS for voice services specifically, Wi-Fi 6 will handle that. So even though it's speaking to multiple clients at the same time, it can still break out that communication so that certain clients have priority when needed. Along with those APs, we do have 2 license levels now. There's the standard ENT license that we've had pretty much forever with Meraki. That enables the AP, gives you all the AP features that we expect. And now there's an advanced license as well. And basically that adds some umbrella DNS protection on top of everything else that's in the AP already. It's ideal for a small installation, maybe a cafe, something like that, where you want to add a little extra protection. The Umbrella controls are not as granular as if you buy the full-fledged version of Umbrella, but it does still go through the same back-end DNS servers and protects in the same way. So a smaller environment where you don't need those granular controls, it can actually be really ideal and affordable. So along with that, we do want to dive into the full Umbrella version and how that can integrate with Meraki as well. And along with that, we've been hearing something called SASE in the market recently. John, what does that mean to us in a hybrid work environment?
That's a great question, Aaron. What is SASE? I've been hearing that everywhere these days, and not just from my sassy toddler at home. Since the beginning of the pandemic, in our small and mid-sized customers, we've seen ransomware attacks increase by over 600%. Security has never been more top of mind for our customers. SASE stands for Secure Access Service Edge. This is a consolidated architectural solution that provides effective and homogeneous levels of security and experience for users from anywhere and on any device. Now, in order to achieve this in the simplest way possible, SASE proposes the convergence of networking and network security. These functionalities converged together, and their shift towards an as-a-service cloud edge model. Now, in particular, the Meraki MX device and the advanced malware protection offered on there, and Cisco Umbrella DNS protection provides a security solution for your customers that is multi-layer, single vendor, and absolutely world-class. So let's talk about how these two unique solutions work together to secure your customers. So let's take a step back for a second. What is Umbrella? Umbrella is a cloud-based secure internet gateway, or SIG for short. Umbrella offers users protection from internet-based threats anywhere they go. Now, Meraki offers Cisco Umbrella protection in a couple key ways. One of them, as you just spoke to, Aaron, is Meraki's MR Advanced Security License option. Now, through Meraki's MR Advanced Security License, we offer Umbrella DNS protection on any device that is connected wirelessly to that Meraki AP. So, if your customers are creating an environment where their workers are coming and going a lot, and they actually don't have full DNS protection, offering that protection while those workers are in the office can be essential to keeping their users safe. The same customer might have a lot of guests coming in and out of their office fairly regularly. DNS protection on a basic level on the Meraki access points can be incredibly helpful to keep those guests secure as well as your network. The other way that Meraki integrates with Umbrella protection is through our MX security device. Now, this is a setting within the Meraki dashboard that allows you to share settings, protocols, and alerts with your Cisco Umbrella dashboard. Now, a key factor is that you still have two unique dashboards, Cisco Meraki and Cisco Umbrella. So your users that currently use Umbrella or would like to start using Umbrella can still take advantage of all the granular settings and advanced security features that can only be found on the full Cisco Umbrella dashboard. Now, combining the security of Cisco Umbrella and Meraki Advanced Malware Protection on our MX SD-WAN devices provide two incredibly key layers for keeping your customers, their users, their devices, and their data secure in the modern world. Now, no security solution would be complete without also adding Cisco Duo multi-factor authentication for all users in your network. But I'll let Aaron talk about that in a minute. First, Aaron, would you mind telling us about the Umbrella options for licensing, as well as the MX licensing options for advanced security?
Okay, so you want to cover your MX device with Umbrella. What do you need to order to do that? It's pretty easy, actually. There's the Umbrella Essentials or Advanced license, and that's for your users themselves. That's actually a client license that installs on their devices and protects them whether they're working from home or the office. So it's really ideal for a hybrid worker. And that's available in 1, 3, or 5-year subscriptions. You can prepay on that. That can be paid monthly. Or there's annual invoicing for those multi-year contracts if you want to do that. The second piece that you need is the Advanced Security License for the MX device. The ENT license won't work in this case. If you do want the Umbrella layer of protection, you'll add the Advanced Security, which also has anti-malware built in and some other things there. Once you have those two pieces, that link is possible. And once you've made that link, everything southbound of that MX device is protected by that DNS security protection. So it's a really nice add-on. There's no specific license to make that connection. As long as you have some of your users covered, your Advanced Security license on the MX, you're all taken care of there. One extra layer that a lot of people will like to add on is Duo, and that's a multi-factor authentication program. So basically, you're verifying that your users, when they connect to your sensitive data, are who they say they are. We're not going to go into that too much, but it is something to keep in mind if you're wanting to roll out a SASE program for your clients. Finally, let's jump into a dashboard demo here. Skylar pre-recorded this for us, and he's going to go through the steps to set up an MX device with an Umbrella dashboard.
Hey everyone, I'll be demonstrating how quick and easy it is to manually integrate the Cisco Umbrella platform with a Meraki MX. This integration allows administrators to apply and modify DNS-based filtering rules to multiple groups of clients on their network by assigning a filtering policy to a specific Meraki group policy. Once assigned, all DNS requests from clients included under that policy will be automatically redirected to Cisco's Umbrella DNS service, where it will be checked against the appropriate policy configured for the network device in the dashboard. Cisco and Meraki even provide quite a few great resources out there via their websites and support pages to really help you set up and configure these group policies. By the end of this video, you'll know how to locate and create an Umbrella API key, as well as where to add that key in the Meraki dashboard to enhance the Meraki MX security appliance. To complete this video, you'll need an administrative access to both the Meraki and Umbrella dashboards, as well as something to record the API keys. As you can see, I've logged into the Umbrella dashboard right here. To access the API keys, you'll want to go over to the categories section and look for the administrator category, and then at the very bottom there'll be an API key. Once on this page, you'll see several categories. You want to make sure you keep an eye out for the Umbrella Network Devices category. A lot of people will accidentally create a legacy network devices key and get confused. That will not let you link the Meraki dashboard and Umbrella. You need to use the Umbrella Network Devices key. All you have to do is click Generate Token, and it'll begin the process. It'll pop out two keys. You'll get a API key, which is the first key, and a secret key. You want to make sure you write both of these keys down. The secret key will only be displayed this very first time, as you see at the top of the page with the warning. You need to make sure you save that, because it is required to create a sync between the Umbrella and Meraki dashboards, as well as any other API syncs that you would like to create. Now that we have both keys, we'll pop over to the Meraki dashboard. The change we're about to make is a network-wide change, so you'll need to apply the change to every network that you would like to be integrated with the Meraki Umbrella. Alternatively, you can also apply it to a template, and it'll make the changes via that. So I'm selecting the correct network. In our case, it's Lab 0117. And once on this page, we'll go to Network-Wide, Configure, and General. Once the page loads, go ahead and scroll to the very bottom of the page, and you should see Cisco Umbrella account. We'll click New Credential, and it'll ask us to copy in the information. So go ahead and take the information you copied and saved prior and paste it into the page. And once that is properly in the page, go ahead and hit Save, and it should load the changes. It says the changes were saved, but I always like to double check and verify, so I go down to the bottom, and they are there. So you can see how quick and easy that really was. It's all set up and ready to go. You can go ahead and start configuring your group policies and various policies on Umbrella to handle your network. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to me today, and I hope you take time to check out all the rest of the things we have to offer. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, Skylar, thanks very much for the demo. As you can see, that link between Meraki dashboard and the Umbrella dashboard is very easy to set up. From there, you can set your user policies and make that extra layer of security happen. So we've covered some great innovative new product today, the MR line access points with multi-gig technology, Wi-Fi 6 technology, the MX line. Again, we're adding some multi-gig capabilities there, especially as we're seeing those faster speeds from our ISPs at ever better pricing. So finally, we add to that the Umbrella security, and that really gives us a great protection story for hybrid workers. We have our in-office protection, we have our at-home protection, and if your workers are wandering around, that umbrella remote protection as well, whether they're in a cafe or at home. So with that, we want to start to wrap things up here a little bit. We're going to move to a live Q&A in just a moment. John, thank you again very much for helping out with the main presentation here. Skylar, thank you for the demo. And with that, let's jump over to live Q&A. We'll see you there in about 4 seconds. Thank you. All right, hello, we're back. Thank you guys so much for watching our video here today. We did get a good number of questions, so we're going to start to jump through those. We're going to hop in first with a Wi-Fi question here real quick. And Skylar, why don't we take this one over to you? What are the PoE power requirements for the MR46?
Sure, happy to help out with that one. It is a PoE plus access point, so it would require about 30 watts of power at the maximum if it's fully operating. So 802.3 AT would be the standard they'd be looking for.
All righty. And then we have another one tied to the access points. Why don't we send that over to you, John? Can we mix standard Wi-Fi units with Wi-Fi 6 units and a mesh?
Yeah, great question, Aaron. We're getting this a lot. You can, but generally we don't recommend it, and here's why. You can create that mixed environment, but 802.11ac and 802.11ax do not have the handoff between the two frequencies that we really like for our customers when we want to simplify their whole wireless network. So, for example, if I was walking through the office that we just looked at right here on this video call, if I was all 802.11ac or all 802.11ax, I could walk from one end of the office to the other seamlessly and keep this stream going. I wouldn't say that too confidently if I was crossing back and forth between the two frequencies. They will mesh, but we generally recommend when someone's switching to Wi-Fi 6 that they go for a full rip and replace of the wireless frequency.
Yep, definitely makes sense there. And you want to stick with the advantages of the Wi-Fi 6 when you have it. So keeping that consistent will definitely help the overall network. Okay, here's the important question of the day where we know we have a lot of people wondering about this one. How do I know if I'm going to receive the Stein? I'll answer that real quick. We are going to send a follow-up email to the 60 of you that are going to win a sign to keep an eye out for that. As we mentioned sort of in the preview, they are shipping from Germany, so it may be a little bit before we get them out to you, but we do want to make sure we get a good address for you so we can ship them out since not everyone's working from their office. So we'll reach out, let you know, get a fresh address from you, and kind of go from there. John, here's a very good one for you. What resources does Meraki offer for those that want to offer managed services?
Yeah, that is a great question. We have quite a few. I know we saw a poll question go up that best describes your business type. Managed service providers is just one of our fastest growing segments of our partner community. And we found that partners who do switch to it are able to increase not only their revenue, but their profits substantially. It's a great business model for you guys. It's a great business model for us. And a lot of our resources have started responding to that. So on the Cisco side, we've got the provider program, which has 2 tiers, depending on the type of specializations that you're able to do for it. One of them starts at a standard 50% discount on all gear, regardless of the project. And the other one, the more substantial one, starts at a 55% discount. So there's a lot we do on the discounting side. Now, aside from that, we've got the Managed Service Provider Hub, and we should have several more trainings coming out later this year that will outline a managed service roadmap to get you to start thinking about your business model, your strengths, what type of managed service models make sense for your customers or for the customers that you want to go after, and how to start putting those together from a sales side, an operations side, all of the above. So we have some things in place right now that really help do it from a discounting standpoint, from a training standpoint, and there's a lot more to come. This is a direction the industry is going, and it is not going away. So we're going to be there to meet you guys as you guys want to engage in this type of service.
And I think you're absolutely right there, John. And we're seeing that from the polling question too. We set that out during the review. We're seeing right now 53% of the viewers are running as MSP right now. 37.8 is VAR, and then the retailer is around 10%. It used to be reverse that. So we've kind of seen the whole market shift from that. And we do have a lot of our VAR customers that we talk to that are starting to add those managed services. So I think as that comes online, as more companies do that well, both manufacturers and resellers, we'll start to see that in the market more. And it's a very effective way of doing business now. We'll jump back into the product details here a little bit. Skylar, what is the difference between Meraki and Meraki Go, which we did not cover today?
Okay, that's a great question. One of the biggest differences is the way they are managed. Meraki uses the dashboard that I believe we kind of witnessed a little bit earlier. It uses the cloud management, has a little more robust features, so it's a little more enterprise. Meraki Go uses an app management. It does not require any kind of licensing for it to manage it. It's just through the app. So those are kind of the main differences. You'll find a lot more speed in the like the MX hardware and things like that. But mostly it comes down to the licensing and dashboard.
All right.
Yeah, and I can add to that. I will say that our Meraki Go just portfolio, it's being geared towards what we're calling it the Soho segment, which is small office, home office. I would say a small, lightly busy corner coffee shop is just about going to stretch a lot of that, a lot of the gear on Meraki Go. So when you think about that for your customers that are running businesses that are larger than a few employees, that's typically when we say, let's start looking at the Meraki Enterprise platform, whereas Meraki Go is being geared a bit more towards the retail market.
I wanted to mention quick too, we often get the question if they can join Meraki Go devices to the Meraki dashboard, and you cannot do that. It's exclusive to just regular Cisco Meraki.
All righty. We'll jump back to John on this one. We do see this once in a while. What do we do with the UL devices such as the MR18 and VIC60? The client has some hardware license. So I guess, can some of those licenses move over? What are your suggestions there, John?
Absolutely. And that depends on the licensing model that they're using. The majority of our customers right now are using the co-termination licensing model. Now, in some cases, the licenses are going to be device specific. So, for example, you mentioned the MX60. The MX60 is specific to the MX60. And if you don't have an MX60 in there, you cannot transfer that license to an MX75, for example. Now, what you can do is you can take that device, you can unclaim it from the dashboard. And if they're on a co-termination model, whatever time is left on that MX60 license, and those MX licenses tend to be the heaviest ones. They have the advanced security features. They tend to cost a bit more than the rest. The value that remains on that license will be applied to the rest of the dashboard. So the expiration date of the licenses on the entire dashboard will actually be pushed out a bit to match the remaining value on the MX60 license. Now we've got some videos on Meraki documentation.meraki.com on co-termination licensing that describe this process much more eloquently than I can with a graph. But that's how the co-termination license model is going to work. Now the other piece of that, which you mentioned, the MR18, I believe. The MR licenses are unique in that they actually are transferable. And this is unique to the MR access point licenses. It's also unique to the Meraki Vision, the camera licenses. And then also, to a lesser extent, the systems manager licenses that you could take from one device to another. Those licenses will work for any access point in the Meraki portfolio. The lone exception to that, and we talked a little bit about it in the video, is that some of the MR devices are now using advanced security licenses. And that also is transferable, but you cannot transfer an enterprise license into an advanced security dashboard. So that's kind of a distinction there. But for those access points, for those cameras, and for those systems manager licenses, you can transfer them. For the rest of them, you cannot, but you will retain the value on that license with the rest of your licenses on the dashboard.
That's very handy. That's just a matter of removing the device from the network as soon as you've taken that serial number off. add a new one in, and you're good to go there. It just changes the count. Skylar, over to you for this one. Wouldn't all users, wireless or not, connect through an MX on the back end? Why buy MR Advanced?
That's a great question. So potentially the MR Advanced might be for a situation where they haven't yet adopted the MX appliance, so they might not have it. The MX partnership with Umbrella actually is a little more robust than you'll see with the MR Advanced license. It allows you to dig a little more deeply in group policies in both the Umbrella dashboard as well as the Meraki dashboard. So it does allow a little more control, but I would really look for the Advanced to be maybe a location that just has some access points or something along those lines. Since it is a per device license, it allows you a little more flexibility with how you license it.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a hardware as a service question, which kind of goes along with the MSP thing. Does Cisco or DNH or the DNH office have any HAS or hardware as a service programs to use with Meraki devices for our customers? John, you'll probably answer some of this, but a quick basic answer there. We don't have anything natively, at least through DNH. We are working on some programs that'll do that with our cloud marketing team, and certainly in the Umbrella licensing can be set up that way. So there's some stuff we can do, and we do have some providers that can help with that on the financing side. The other side of that with financing is Cisco Capital, and so that can go through you as a reseller or your end customer, and it can be set up that way. And often you'll get that the margin money that you set up front for those devices, and then your customer will effectively be paying per month, and you can add your service fees and stuff on top of that. John, do you have anything else that you wanted to add to that? I feel like you might.
Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well. I will take the opportunity to circle back to just managed services in general. And this is hardware as a service is a huge component of what a lot of our managed service providers are offering in a package. I mean, if you think about a company that wants to focus on their core business and technology is not in their wheelhouse, they just want to call a company and say, I want internet, I want it wireless, I want it never to go out, make it happen. And that's what a managed service provider can come in and do. They can provide the hardware as a service, they can keep the software up to date, and they can just keep that whole service up to date on a month-to-month basis for recurring revenue and, frankly, higher margins.
All right, perfect. This is actually a very good question here with the access points and the sensors, which you had mentioned earlier. Did I hear that the new firmware update, you're now able to connect the sensors to the non-Wi-Fi 6 APs, like the MR33? John or Skylar, either of you have that one?
Yeah, I could say unfortunately not. The sensors are only connecting through the Wi-Fi 6 APs to the BLE. Now that said, they can also connect through a Meraki MV second generation camera, and a second generation camera is going to be any of the cameras that we have available except for the MV21 and the MV71. So you would have had to buy a camera maybe 3 years ago to not be in that line. So that's another way that they can connect. And actually, we're finding quite a few of our customers use this because the sensors are typically going in a rack room or a data center room. And they want a camera in there just to make sure no one's fiddling around in there. And they want the sensors in there to make sure that the environment is good for the gear as well. So those two kind of go hand in hand. So if you don't have the Wi-Fi 6 AP, we recommend throwing 1 or 2 Meraki cameras into wherever those sensors need to be, because if it's a sensitive or expensive enough area to put a moisture sensor in, that probably justifies a camera as well.
All right, perfect. Let's see here. Skylar, maybe you'll have this one. What are the primary differences between the full Umbrella integration and the included Umbrella features in the MX75?
Yeah, I can speak to that to some degree. The full Umbrella integration is, the true blue Umbrella integration. You have the Umbrella portal. It has all of those features built into that and all the management that you would be using with that. The other built-in one is kind of a little more scaled back and doesn't require as much knowledge, I'll say, or experience with the portal to manage it, but it still does allow a lot of the filtering features that you might be looking for, like, do you have a certain content that you might want filtered and things like that. You can still do that. It just doesn't have quite the same degree as the full-blown Umbrella portal.
Absolutely. The full-blown umbrella is going to be much more granular in what you can set, and down to specifics of whether the hardware is in a compliant state or not. Where with the MRs, it's definitely just, it's activated, it protects, but it's not as deep. Let's see here. Oh, John, here's a tough one we've kind of seen across the board in the whole technology industry right now. Do we see the lead times on the MX devices and APs improving anytime soon? I've seen some of the APs are pretty good right now, some are not. How are we looking there?
Yeah, we are challenged on that front, to say the least. I will say that that we're doing a good bit better than most. We do keep a pretty close pulse check on our competitors, and a lot of our AP times are in the 1 to 3 month range. Some of them are shorter than that, whereas I know a lot of our competitors are struggling a bit more. We've been working to diversify our supply chain. The vast majority of our semiconductors, which I know everyone knows is the missing ingredient that is keeping a lot of all of our products back. But most of our semiconductors are currently sourced from South Korea and Taiwan. And we've been working to diversify where those come from for the better part of the pandemic. And I will say that we were able to do some pretty good management from the offset, where I think a lot of the issues with supply chain stemmed from the pandemic hitting and companies immediately saying, stop all orders right away because we're not sure what the future holds. When the pandemic started to hit at Meraki, we recognized that this was going to turn into a work from home world pretty quickly, and we recognize that we can help. So while everyone else was canceling, we essentially 5x'd our orders. So that's a little explanation about how we're able to hold water a little bit better than most right now, but it is a challenging time across the industry. I will say that the best bet is to work with your D&H team or your Meraki account manager to kind of map out what the customer's needs are and where there might be substitute products. On the access point front, for example, the MR56 is one of the most robust access points in all of Cisco's portfolio right now. And that chip in particular is just really tough to source. That lead time is pretty far out. So if that's the AP you're waiting on, I might not have a good answer for you. But if you're able to map out the customer's needs and their timeline, the MR44, for example, is another pretty robust access point that we've got a pretty good source on it, that we're actually looking at a 2-week lead time instead of a 5+ month one. So that's just one small example of a way to say, check in with your team. If you look at the lead times on a list and get disappointed, try to troubleshoot with the experts at D&H or the experts at Meraki, and they'll be able to find something that's going to match your timeline that can work for the customer.
Very good. Yeah, and I'll second that. Definitely contact our team if you're running into that situation. We'll help the best we can. Sometimes there's not an ideal replacement, but when there is, we can get you going with that. We're at this point with the Meraki product and even some of the Cisco, we're keeping a list of the lead times for a lot of the product and comparable products that we can move you to. So our team gets that on a regular basis. We create it for them and they have that at the ready. So we can definitely help with that kind of picking the alternative model. Very happy to do that. Okay, so the umbrella product itself, how do I buy that through D&H? I don't see it on the website, and I'm happy to answer that one. With the umbrella, you can contact our specialist team, and they can get a quote for you through standard order process. It's a subscription product and a little bit weird. You can have the same part number that's 12 months, 36 months. We can customize it to 25 months. So there's a lot of ways to buy that, all with the same part number, which kind of complicates things. But we can get that set up for you and customize it as you need. If you just need a standard year, we can do that. The other way that we have to do this now is through our cloud marketplace. And for that, we have a team dedicated to those services. They sell Microsoft and Cisco product now, and a lot of stuff through that team. But there you'll have your own marketplace and you can purchase the product there. One great benefit there, if you're doing a smaller install, especially, it's under 500 seats for the umbrella. If you're under 500 seats, you definitely want to check the pricing there. Without going through the deal registration, you're already getting deal pricing generally through Cloud Marketplace. So it's a great way to do it. They have very good back-end tracking of your customers, when the purchases were made, all that sort of thing. So we're continually adding products there. We have Umbrella, WebEx Flex, Duo should be there very soon, and then we're adding some other products as well. But Umbrella is one of them we have up and ready to go. We'll hop to another question here. Skylar, back to you. I've got a couple customers standardized on the Cisco switches, but with networking from Aruba APs, how can we transition them to Meraki?
That's a really great question, and one we actually often get. One of the really big selling points of Meraki, I say, is the analytics and some of the monitoring that you get from the standard MR licenses and even the switches, and essentially throughout the entire ecosystem. That can be a really huge selling point because you can easily and quickly pinpoint trouble issues and troubleshoot a lot more easily than you might with other systems. And as you mentioned, it sounded like there were two different manufacturers. Standardizing on Meraki will essentially help you in troubleshooting too, because you have a single pane of glass where you can view all the information across, essentially all of the layers, including the application layer, and you can really pinpoint, where those things are happening. I really like to kind of get people to move in with the access points first and see how great they are and all the features they get with those. And we've also seen a lot of great adoption rates with the switches because of some of the lead times with other manufacturers. So those are a really great way to get some Meraki products in there to see how great they do and see all the extra things that Meraki can do that a lot of the other manufacturers can't. They can really bolster kind of retail settings or other settings where they can get an analysis of what their customers are doing at the actual physical locations.
Absolutely. And the access points in particular are a great starting point with Meraki. In fact, Meraki, through some of the training programs for end customers online, you can set the training, they'll send out an AP. So there's a very big initiative to get an AP in someone's hands so they can see how easy it is to manage and set up. So definitely encourage that with your customers.
Yeah, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention try and buy too. It makes it really easy for them to try something out and see if they do like it with really no risk at all.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in that, you can talk to your Meraki AM that you're working with or the D&H team, and we can help get you set up with that. Well, let's see, John, back to you. I don't know if you can entirely answer this one or not, but I want to know too. So will there be an MR30H replacement in Wi-Fi 6 soon? We have deployments with the MR44s, but in the main areas, but the MR30H is still in the other areas. For those that don't know, the 30H is almost like a hotel device. It has a couple switch ports on it. It has the AP. So it's really designed to go in small spaces, every room. So John, Wi-Fi 6 there? Anything we can...
I believe so. I cannot speak definitively on this, but they do tell us that later this year we are completing our Wi-Fi 6 portfolio. Now we've got we usually have 3 tiers of access points. We now have 4. So I can't imagine that they're going to add a 5th. I think the 4 are serving us pretty well. When we hear completing Wi-Fi 6, I think they mentioned that MR30H is where we're going to go with that. That hospitality unit has been great for us, and it's not something that we would leave off of our Wi-Fi 6 portfolio. I will add to that, though, that one of the things on the roadmap for this fiscal year is also to update Meraki Go with a Wi-Fi 6 access point. So have a look out for that as well. If I was a betting man, I would say you'll probably see whatever they're going to call it, an MR40H before you see a Meraki Go Wi-Fi 6 AP. But there should be some expansion of the Wi-Fi 6 portfolio to come this year. So have a look out for that.
Oh, that's great news. Yeah, in the Meraki Go line, we have switches, we have a security device, and an indoor and outdoor AP. So getting those bumped up to Wi-Fi 6, that'd be exciting. Speaking of Wi-Fi 6 upgrade, I'll take this one. Is there a trade-up program for the existing older Meraki access points? And Cisco does, through the deal mechanism, offer a trade-in program, and sometimes that can add an extra discount. It's not based on exactly how much you're sending in necessarily. If you do the migration program, it's a set percentage that they take off your new equipment. If you contact our specialist team, we can run through the pricing with you of the equipment you're looking at. We can throw the old ones in, and it does depend on part number. It has to be in Cisco's catalog for trade-in eligibility, but if it is, then you'll get a little bit of an extra discount on top of your standard pricing. And so it goes just through a little bit of a deal reg process, but that is very doable and certainly worth checking if you're ripping and replacing a system. All right, let's see here. Oh, John, here we go. This is a great question, actually. Do you have any general stats on what type of customers buy Meraki? Schools versus enterprise versus SMB? Who's buying this stuff?
Yes, is the answer to that. Everyone's buying that. I will say that our traditional market that we've excelled in has been small business. Just because we're selling a product that simplifies IT. I mean, it allows for businesses that maybe don't have the resources to put together a robust IT staff in-house. They can manage multiple locations with a relatively small staff. I mean, the dashboard makes that a reality. Now, where we've seen the most growth in the coming years has been in the public sector space, and we've seen tremendous growth in the enterprise space as well. And this is mostly due to our integration with a lot of other Cisco security products. I mean, we talked SASE. I've been talking SASE all year. The ability to be a part of a comprehensive security solution that is going to completely just cover individuals and networks in the organization opens up our customer base substantially to the larger customers that have heavier security demands. So we're seeing tremendous growth in that space as well. Now, in addition to that, if you haven't had a look at our APIs yet, that's the source of an enormous growth area within our enterprise customers, within our public sector customers, across the board. I believe it's apps.meraki.io, and this is a website that's a marketplace of third-party sellers that are doing APIs for access control, doing APIs for data analytics. There's a whole new field of APIs for the cameras right now that are doing things like mask detection, that are doing things like social distancing checking in a given area. So a lot of these APIs that have been working with our dashboard have really accelerated growth with a lot of our larger customers. And the more we integrate with some of Cisco Enterprise's solutions, the more we are seeing opportunities in the enterprise space. So I think the short answer to the question is we are always going to be perfect for small business. We are always going to be the best possible solution for anyone operating on a relatively tight staff there. But increasingly, we are finding the solutions on the security front, on the access control front, on the physical security front to satisfy the needs of large-scale customers and public sector customers as well.
All righty. Let's see here. Skylar, you did the demo, so this is right up in your alley there. How easy is it to upgrade from an advanced security license to a full umbrella license if a customer later needs those more granular controls? So I guess it's the advanced MR, and then we want to transition to the full umbrella. How tough is that process?
Sure. Happy to answer that great question. It is really, honestly, as easy as the demo that I did. It's, you would just have to have that umbrella licensing in place for the dashboard. So you'd need to make those choices. And if you're going to do that, I'd really recommend reaching out to our team and speaking to Colleen, who's really great at those, and helping you narrow down the package. But once you have that in place, it really is just creating the API key and then linking it in. There's some great resources that Meraki's put together on that process, and it really is as easy as the steps that I did. But after that, they have a lot of resources that go through how to set up the group policies, how to apply the group policies to both the Meraki and umbrella dashboards and get them interworking. And it really isn't difficult at all. If you have any experience using Meraki group policies, you're already like 90% of the way there. So it's something very easy to transition to.
Yep, very definitely. And kind of tied to that, you're asking about the license types for the Umbrella. I can answer this. You said that the license types for Umbrella to integrate with DMX are the DNS Essentials and Advantage, and that is true. On the Meraki side, there's one piece that you do need. The MX has to be on that Advanced Security license. That enables the extra parts that'll link the two together. But once you have that, you need some users either on the Umbrella Essentials or Advantage. You can pick either one there. We can provide it. In fact, actually in the resources, we have a chart comparing the differences between the two. But as long as you have some licenses in one of those packages, then you can make that link, and then everything south of the MX is going to be protected by that. So it's actually a nice advantage. You might have hundreds, thousands of devices underneath that MX, and they're all covered, even if you have 5 people covered on the Umbrella. So if you have a core workforce that's in the office all the time, may or may not need Umbrella for them on their personal laptops unless they're traveling. But if you have, your traveling salespeople, you have a group of 10 of them, you definitely want to have Umbrella on their systems so that they're protected while they're traveling and on everybody else's networks where you're not in control. But just by doing that, then you have that link that you can make with the MX and protect everybody on the network that's in-house. Let's see. We do have a lot of questions here, and we'll try and get to all of them, but we may not. If we don't get to your question, we'll definitely follow up after, but I want to answer at least a couple more questions here, and then we'll kind of start to wrap things up. Let's see here. Okay, statement. Either of you can answer this one. NAS is the future. Yes? No? All right, we got the nod. There we go. So we're confirming that. Let's see here. Another state. I'll read this too. This is great, actually. Just a statement. I love Cisco Meraki, and it's my go-to security appliance and my primary Wi-Fi access points. And a lot of us have that at home. We're a little biased, but I do actually love the stuff. I've used the competitors' products too, and they do their job. But there's something special about the Meraki line. I really enjoy it. Let's see here. How can we do the labs? Skylar, what kind of training resources do we have here at D&H?
Great question. One of the first ones I'll drive you to is the Driven program we have at D&H, which is at dnh.com/ I think it is Driven, where we have some really great Meraki resources, Meraki 360 program we do, as well as some Umbrella resources and some other just Cisco and Meraki resources in general. So that's one of the really great places I would go. The other one I would check out is Sales Connect. From there, you'll be able to Cisco Sales Connect, I should say. From there, you'll be able to locate stuff like the Black Belt program, which is a really great resource, and they do have a Meraki tract. There's Meraki Fit level 1 and 2, which have some really great programs, and Sales Connect will drive you to that. The CMNA is available probably to a few of you out there, which is a great resource to get trained up, and you'll get a cool t-shirt and some networking equipment. It's a little more advanced and more technical. And then I am blanking on the name of the newest Meraki certification that's similar to the CCNA, but there's another resource out there with that, and maybe John can help me out with that. But Meraki does have a few really good training programs with that, and I know the first portion of that program kind of sits before the CMNA, and then the second portion is after that. But Meraki has put together a lot of really great training programs for free of charge for partners. So I'd really take a look at Sales Connect, and you can locate a lot of them from there.
Yeah, I'll say the ECMS 1 and 2 are the two kind of substantial training programs, and the CMSS certification test is the one that you take after those two programs. That is going to be the substantial, I would say the CCNA type certification that Skylar was referring to there.
Yeah, definitely. And to Skylar's point on the black belt, I want to emphasize that a little bit. That is a phenomenal training. It's something that our staff has gone through. They have a DISTI version of it. They have a partner version of it. They also, but within that, there's the architectures covered. You can do collab, you can do security, you can focus on ENG, route switch wireless. Those are all focused there. There's a Meraki section that's focused, and they do have sales versions of it. They have the technical person version of it, and even a marketing side of that. So if you have a marketing person you want to send them through, there's a section of that. The black belt program has really come along. It's a lot of great training that's there, and they're constantly adding to it. They've just added a second level above what they had last year, so that's definitely worth checking out. It's a great resource above and beyond even what we offer directly. Let's see here. I think we're getting pretty close. Skylar, one more for you. What can we do with the devices that have remained unclaimed by previous owner? How can we claim and use them? So that can be a tricky situation. Any guidelines there?
Sure. I would definitely potentially reach out to Meraki support and check the serial numbers to make sure you're not trying to activate any gray market hardware, because that can have a lot of effect on you losing support, as well as some other things that could affect your Cisco partnership. So that would be kind of my first concern and something I would watch out for. The other thing you can do, if it is not a gray market product and you're maybe taking over for another MSP, is reach out to that MSP. They can, or whoever it may be that you're taking over the resources for. There definitely is a process that they can go through with Meraki support, technical support, that will kind of handle and help them remove it from their dashboard, at which point it can potentially be reclaimed. You would have to buy new licensing, but I would be really nervous about potentially doing that because it can be gray market. You really want to make sure that you're buying it either through a DISTI if you're a reseller, or buying it through an authorized reseller if you're going to purchase those kind of things.
All righty. Very good. So we're going to go ahead and get closed up here. If there's any questions remaining, we'll go ahead and do that. But a couple housekeeping pieces to take care of. We will have this posted on demand at dnh.com/dhtv within the next 24 hours or so. You'll also see little banners with Solutions Lab watch on demand here over the coming weeks that'll pop up on our website. But we do have that DHTV part of our site where you can check things out. If you do have any questions after the event, happy to answer those as well. We have our Cisco specialist at dnh.com email address. That's our US team. The Canada folks that are watching, we have Cisco Team CA at dnh.com. They can get you going up on that side of things. And then finally here, the next DNH TV webcast, we have one of those coming up. Definitely keep an eye out for it. It's November 4th at 2 p.m. And they're going to do education funding, E-rate, and emergency connectivity. So that's directly tied in with a lot of the Meraki stuff. We're seeing E-rate transition through Meraki all the time. And there's some good discounting programs there. So that may be very informative to those of you dealing in that side of things. And then finally, for more information, we have our dnh.com/solutions lab and dnh.ca/solutions lab. You can find out what's going on there as well. And that's another place to catch our on-demand link. So with that, I thank you so much for joining us, everybody that's watching. John and Skylar, thank you very much for your participation in this. It's been fantastic. We've closed out our 2021 Meraki Oktoberfest. All right, we'll reach out with the mug shortly. Have a great one.
Thanks, Aaron.